many of you guys already know, listen to, have shared stories of. The feminine is rising. If you actually really listen to the song and really listen to the lyrics of the song, it's a journey. The feminine is rising, but it's not the way that we always are made to believe. One of the first things I noticed is just how boldly you show up online. How did you grow such courage?
I'm gonna be real with you. It's a journey every single day. I'm always working on.
Lizzy Jeff's passion for global healing, sacred activism, and sensual creative expression has led to her sharing her message of healing through her rap, poetry, and artistry.
New age spirituality makes you feel like you manifest and then you have no more problems. And that's not what it is. That's the womb.
I love that you bring it back to the womb.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't remember anything else, remember that it always comes back to the womb. And that's why there's so much power in.
I can only imagine how different the world would live if the leaders of it were connected to the womb. We're mothers. We would just treat each other and the world and our children so differently. And that's what I love that you said in our song. This is a message for all you little girls. Do not let the patriarchy fuck up your vibe. Iconic. We need shirts.
I'm excited to see the music video for our song that we shot.
And it will be available now when people are listening to this conversation.
Ooh.
So
feminine is rising, the body is the path. The feminine is rising, so I'ma throw it back. Yeah. The feminine is rising, the body is the path. The feminine is rising, so I'ma throw it back. Trust flows, surrender, let go. Trust flows, surrender, let go. Trust flows, surrender, let go. I'm the one I've been waiting for.
welcome back to the Highest Self podcast. My name is Sahar Rose, and on this podcast, I love to take spirituality and make it grounded, fun, real, relatable, bringing it back to the feminine, the earth. And I'm so excited for today's episode because she's an artist who's featured on one of my songs that many of you guys already know, listen to, have shared stories of. The feminine is rising.
Kundalini rising, your chakra is the path. Puff out my booty chica, got you doing girl math. The way I want my waist and bounce so I don't miss. I pop that booty up and drop it to a split. Dance for a lady when I shake my derriere. They say they got a problem, like bitch, I don't care. Wild woman things bailando con la luna. Bitch parece juicy como una fruta. Bounce a thing up, rompelo right. Wind it all around, do it all night. Do it all night, queen, do it all night. Do it all night, queen, do it all night.
If you actually really listen to the song and really listen to the lyrics of the song, it's a journey. And I wanted to really bring her on to have a deeper conversation because the feminine is rising, but it's not the way that we always are made to believe, right? It's not just, okay, we're in positions of power now, we made it, like a female president, and that's it. It's so much bigger. And it's also not about detracting ourselves from our femininity, from our sensuality, our sexuality, but also not to make that the only thing that we put out there to market ourselves with, which is also what this consumeristic industry wants, finding our own right relations with that. So I'm excited to bring her on. We're going to talk about all things. Maybe we'll talk about some breast massage, maybe celibacy, maybe everywhere in between. And before we drop into this episode, be sure to hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast. That is the best way to stay up to date on the latest episodes. We've got this in video format, so if you're just hearing my voice, be sure to also watch our fabulous outfits on video as well on Spotify, YouTube, or the Apple Store. This is the best way to stay in the flow with future conversations and also allows the podcast to reach more people. So hit subscribe so I can keep vibing with you on all future episodes. Now let's get into this one. So without further ado, let's welcome in Lizzy Jeff.
Hey, thank you
I
so
love how
much.
you're already getting ad-libs into my intro.
That was beautiful. It's just so natural. Well, you're so natural. I love that. I appreciate that. Yes, that's a vibe. That's a good frequency to be on right now. And I feel like, you know, the more we tell our stories, the more we talk about it, the more power we have, the more impact we can make collectively. And it's a beautiful time for the world. I know we moving through a lot of deep, dark, muddy, murky waters, but it's important for us to remember to see the beauty too in life. And part of that beauty is the rise of the matriarchy. And at least for me, the remembering of it, you know, so many women are remembering, we're activated in that energy. And it's been beautiful to see how it can be expressed, especially without the constraints. So I love, that song we have together, and I appreciate the invitation to, express myself and share my perspective. But like you said, it's been so beautiful seeing all the women and how they respond to it. And it's beautiful. It's a moment. It's a movement.
Thank you. And if people follow you on social media, one of the first things I notice is just how boldly you show up online. Like your outfits and you're feminine and, you really just like let yourself be seen. How did you grow such courage?
Okay, that seems courageous to you?
I feel for a lot of women just showing up in this way where you're like sexy, but it's for you. You're like, yeah, I don't need to shave my armpits and I'm in lingerie.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be real with you. It's a journey every single day. I'm always working on me. I'm always working on, or it's not even work. It's just, I love finding new ways to love myself more every day because the world did a number. The world does a number. From the time you're little and the world is always saying, don't wear your clothes like that, close your legs, pull your skirt down, just all the rules that have been inflicted on little girls as we grow up. And I'm like, my goodness, it's like, I remember when I had much smaller, when I was darn near flat-chested, people always had something to say about me having no breasts. And then, over time, I've just manifested a really nice cup, a really nice cleavage. I guess through eating good, manifestation, working out, just, doing my avocado masks. But I'm saying that to say is, and people still have something to say about how I show up or what I wear. And it's like, but my journey is my journey. And it's a journey of loving myself when the world has constantly told me, I'm not worthy. And so just reclaiming my power. So my confidence, part of that is just me, saying fuck it and being true to who I am, because I operate better when I'm free to exist in my expression.
Do you feel like you get more backlash from other women or men?
Equal. But the women, I think I can understand. I mean, I can understand the men too. I understand why. But it's just so funny because it's like, the fact that men came out of a whole portal, a cosmic pussy portal, and many sucked on, the breast, the fountain of life, nourishment. That's what sustained them to even be able to exist on this earth, yet all feel they can, dictate and rule. And it's interesting. And so I'm here to learn. I'm here to listen. But while I'm learning and listening, I'm going to still express myself. I'm going to still link up with my girlfriends. We're going to wear what we want to wear. We're going to do what we want to do. And the thing is, we're disciplined. The thing is, we take care of our bodies. We hike, we get in nature, we do our yoga, we work on our mindsets, we read books, we drink our fresh juices, the ginger shots. We're in the community. We're giving back to the community. We're not, nobody's perfect, but it requires a certain level of self-awareness and discipline to really exist in a level of freedom, that we wish to have. And I know freedom looks different for a lot of people right now. And, this is the reality that we're in. And so I feel like a lot of change, a lot of impact can be made through the awakening of women knowing who they are and restoring peace, bringing it back to the womb, balanced with the masculine energy.
Have you recently gone through a heartbreak that rocked your world? And honestly, you're still maybe picking up the pieces. You've learned so much from this experience, but you also know there's so much more awaiting you. And probably you have an intuitive sense that this was meant to happen for you to become your highest self. Well, I've been there. At the end of 2022, I found out that my then husband had been cheating on me. And it was the most horrible news I've ever gotten. But now looking back on it, I can say it was my life's greatest blessing. Because without that, I would have never left the marriage where honestly, we were quite incompatible in many different ways. But it took me getting to that level for me to actually see what was not working in the relationship and for me to set off and create this new life where I traveled the world for a year, started producing music, singing, rapping, dropped an album called My Body is an Altar that has hundreds of thousands of streams around Spotify, creating music videos, moving to LA, dressing in these really cute outfits, becoming my fullest expression, and most importantly, not having anything in my consciousness that I'm afraid of anymore. I have become truly liberated. And that is the gift of a heartbreak. So all my friends would come to me when they would go through their heartbreaks. I know a lot of people are in it right now. And this is why I've decided to create my ultimate heartbreak healing course. So it guides you step by step with the exact tools and realizations that I used on myself during my heartbreak that have allowed me to not just heal from it, but become this version of me that I am frankly obsessed with. So for 33 days, every single day, I will be guiding you through a practice. Journal prompt, will be writing poetry, healing and transmuting so much, but most importantly, taking this as the opportunity for you to become the version of you that you've always felt it was too soon to be. So I'm so excited for you to get started. As soon as you join the course, you can get started on day one. I have seen insane transformations and I can't wait to see what awaits you on the other side. So head over to iamsahararose.com/heartbreak and use coupon code podcast for $50 off. Again, that's iamsahara, SAHARA, rose.com/heartbreak and use coupon code podcast for $50 off. You can find that link in the show notes, and I'm super excited for you to meet the version of you that's on the other side. I love that you said that. After my divorce, I felt like in that marriage, I couldn't really show up in like a more sexy, open way because I was a wife. You know, and like the expectations that I created in my own mind, like based on society, based on culture, but even just based on myself of like, I'm married. So like I should be, you know, dressed like this, dressed like that. And also he was Arab and it's very like a patriarchal, like don't wear this. I remember the first time I wore like a bathing suit, I put a selfie when we were just dating. He was like, don't post that. I know what men are thinking. And it was like, I would fight back, but it was almost like not even worth it sometimes. And so I kind of just lost myself. I would wear loose clothes all the time. And it was just like so much more around like my work and my teachings and this and that. Then, you know, after finding out about his infidelity, I'm like, well, fuck that, you know?
Okay.
I'm going to start showing up like ways that I never did because I was in that relationship for almost 8 years.
8?
You know, 8 years, almost 8 years. Yeah. So I, you know, went to Trinidad to Carnival and like for the first time, I'm like dancing a thong on a street with the feathers and all the outfits. And I felt freedom, like such freedom and liberation for me. However, the response I got from like my mom was like, how can you post that? What are people going to think about you? They're going to think.
For family always first.
Exactly. And the bigger thing for her is men are going to think that you're a slut and no one will ever want to be with you. And that's like a death sentence to them. So I'm curious if you ever received like from family or friends or anything from men of like, people won't want to be with you if you, and the funny thing, I've told you, I've been celibate since then for a year and a half, but because I dress a certain way, people just make these assumptions about you. And I swear, it's like those of us that are the most free are the most discerning of our sexual energy.
Dang, that's deep.
Yeah.
I learned a valuable lesson this week. Fuck what they think.
Yeah.
You know, it's I mean, excuse my language.
Oh, we swear here.
But fuck your perspective. Because I realize the more I expand and evolve and grow in my purpose and my truth and my authenticity, the more people have something to say. And of course, I'm an advocate. I like to speak up for myself and stand on my truths and, you know, fight back for myself. I'm a warrior, but also it's like choose your battles. And it's important for us to speak up for ourselves, but also it's important for us to like literally practice the habit of not giving a fuck what they think, because otherwise we just gonna be, what we gonna do? let the next generation of women be suppressed because we didn't do shit about it. And also the women that came before us, we not the first generation of women to show some coochie hair or even some women that are as radical as free bleeding as art online. Women doulas who share the actual live birth, online on these social media platforms. All of that is radical. Shaking ass and showing titties, that's just one piece of that radical movement. It's the Renaissance. And for so long, we didn't have that autonomy and freedom over our body. And so that's why there's a lot of ass shaking and titty bopping going right now, because women are in that early phase of reclaiming that power. And eventually, look what we're manifesting. We're learning how to harness that energy and create new worlds, which is the very reason why that energy and power has been suppressed. And so if we gonna change something, it's like, dang, you got to be radical in your existence, radical in your expression. And I'm not saying you got to be on the front line every day, but there's intentional ways that you can show up, because one auntie or cousin or elder at the church might call and say, that skirt slit was too high, and, somebody might, try to mess with you, or da-da-da-da, or you don't want to attract the wrong kind of energy. Thank you so much for your concern, and I appreciate that, and I hear you and I respect that. But at the same time, I'm at Simply Wholesome, or I'm at the local market, the organic market, and this elder lady comes up to me and she's like, oh my God, I never thought to wear a lace robe when I'm grocery shopping. She was like, you look so beautiful. I wasn't going to say anything, but I just wanted to let you know I'm inspired, and it's like, I'm here for both, because if she's thinking about it, she can think about it, and I appreciate what she says. Thank you. And also I see that it's making an impact too. It's the smallest ways. It's not always about being on stage and shouting it out to the rooftop. Sometimes it's in the subtle ways and how you show up, even if you almost didn't wear that red lace robe that day, but something told you to put it on, because you just never know, And so I like to be a flower. I like to dress like a flower. And some days I show a little thigh, not often, but most days I love to just love and celebrate, my body, because it took me a long time to love my body. I'm a thin man. I'm like slim, thick, you feel me? But more slim than thick. But growing up in my community, especially between living in New Orleans and LA, I always got teased for being skinny. And so, it's like we all got a story, we all got a testimony, but the more you love yourself, the more you diligently, actively practice loving yourself every day, the less you care about the assumptions. You just got to do it. We're radical women. We're creating a whole new world. So...
a dazzling place I never knew. It's so true. I remember growing up for maybe like 10 to 15 years of my life, my morning routine was to wake up and look in the mirror at my stomach to see how fat I was that day. Was I bloated or not? For maybe 15 years, from the time I was like 11 years old to like 25. So my whole teenage and early 20s was like, it was a good day if my stomach was flat, and a bad day if my stomach was fat, bloated. And then I remember, we grew up in the era of like, the 2000s midriff, right? Where if you look at pictures of these women now, it's like a lot of them, they were not naturally like that. They had eating disorders, and that's what our society told us was normal. Like I remember back in the day, it was like Jessica Simpson got fat. And everyone was talking about it. If you just look at her, she was like size 8, which is just the average size. But in our heads, God forbid you look like that. You're too fat, you're too thin, you're too whatever. And it just became such an ingrained part of my mind of just like suck in your stomach, be thin. And I remember seeing this like TikTok video of this guy, and he's like, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, bro, like I'm attracted to girls that have like a belly pooch. Like, I don't know what it is. And the woman responded, they're like, that means you're attracted to women because we have uteruses. But for a man, he had only seen depictions in the media or in porn where it's like all these women with tiny waists, huge tits, all looking like this, that he didn't know we women naturally have a curve on the bottom of our stomach because we carry uteruses. He thought there was something weird about him that he liked that. And I'm like, how disconnected we are from our real diverse bodies. And the self-loathing that creates when my first thought every day is, am I lovable or not, based on the shape of my stomach, which, by the way, houses all the organs that keep me alive.
You are lovable.
Yeah.
And how I wish somebody was there when I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, really, really instilling that. And for a lot of little girls and little people. And so it's like, while we do our work to heal and overcome some stuff, we pour into the next generation, as best as we can, because we all as a people just care too much about what other people think. And it's like, it's natural. This is just my natural body. I'm good. I'm healthy. I love myself. If you don't like it, that's a you problem, not me, And so even just, you mentioned being in a marriage, even to the ladies in relationships who might feel like, oh, my man might feel some type of way, it's like, do it for you, even if you have one day that's just for you, where you date yourself, you romanticize, just start there. Just bring more sensuous energy and that aphrodisiac infused, like those recipes. And, just sometimes it's not even about what you wear, it's about how you wear it too. And I feel like that all that plays a part. It's just about exploring that energy little by little every day and just seeing how it makes you feel. You mentioned mirror work. That's a powerful way to see yourself, to just look in the mirror and naked and just look at yourself and recognize how many negative thoughts come up that aren't even your beliefs. Something your daddy says, something a magazine might have said, or your ex-husband or boyfriend said that one time that stuck with you. So it's like, let all that stuff come up and then, okay, now let's get to the real work. Because otherwise, what we gonna do?
So true. It's crazy. A lot of the past year and a half, I would look in the mirror and just rub my belly and love her and thank her. And now whenever I'm sitting on my desk, I'm just squeezing her. I'm like, oh, I love you so much. And, and even just I feel so often we only feel physical love when we're in relationships. So that's why we're often seeking for that, but to just love yourself. So I'm curious, what are some ways, because I'm not sure if you're single right now, or maybe, okay, she's not going to answer that one. In your single journey, what are ways?
I'm not married.
Okay.
I'm not married.
So what are ways, and single or not, the self-love is always needed, that you give yourself that self-love, especially in times that you might feel lonely?
I do feel lonely. Mm-hmm. I feel lonely sometimes. For 3 minutes, but I do so much. The best relationship I ever had was with me. I have so much fun with myself. I love buying myself flowers and just doing all the things and preparing the most delicious salads with the avocado and the pumpkin seeds and just the
This is a song, it's coming through.
Romaine. So anyways, writing music, doing my inversions every day, going upside down, reading from Sacred Woman, just all those things help me love myself, help me just be disciplined, around learning the science of relationships as well as the mystical enchanting side of it too. Shout out to the Black Love Soul School. I just learned about them yesterday, but that was one thing that they reminded me is important in relationships is the actual science of relationships and how we communicate, how we show up, how we choose to show up. But practicing those things with myself and allowing myself to experience just a top-tier relationship, somebody that's honest, that communicates clearly, someone I can feel safe and vulnerable around. And so right now, I'm really, in love with myself. I know that sounds crazy. No, it don't sound crazy. You gotta be. And I'm exploring her and learning more about her and what she loves, and so that I can be very clear in my next relationship as to who I am and what I want. And, because I don't like to waste time. It's like, this is a legacy. This is a power couple. Once you, do the vetting and make that commitment to someone. And so it's like, I want to take that serious and be very intentional and sacred in that. And so I'm here doing me for right now.
So I'm curious, like, as such an empowered and fierce woman who's just, completely herself, what was dating like for you?
What was dating? I mean, now if somebody wanted to go on a date tomorrow, I would go.
Were you on dating apps?
No. Okay, I guess I never thought about it like that. No, I never did the dating apps. I know a lot of homies who have found true love through dating apps. But the thing about me, I live a very particular lifestyle. I like things a certain way. I like my food handled a certain way. I like to, and so that puts me in very specific places, where certain people who are also particular about their lifestyle would be. And so it might be the juice bar. It might be the spa. It might be in nature on a hike, at my favorite plant-based restaurant. That's where I meet a lot of kings, at the plant-based restaurants. It might be the bookstore on a random late night, you feel me, on a vibe. It just depends, but it's like, I like to be in spaces that make me feel alive, because I know also that's where I'm gonna meet somebody else that's on that vibration too. And so for me, dating, meeting people is not necessarily the hard part. It's not even really hard. It's just, I like to be intentional. But it's fun. I have fun. Every relationship is there to teach you and help you grow. And, sometimes you go right, sometimes you go left. I'm thankful for it all. And it's interesting you asked me that question, because I'm in this beautiful program. And this week, part of our assignment was to take a list of all your lovers, your past lovers, relationships, write their names, how many years. This is in the Queen of Fu, Sacred Woman book. How many years you were together, how long it was, different things, like very personal, deep, reflective questions that maybe you don't always stop to think about, but it's like you're looking at them from a chart. So you see various modes of yourself and how you showed up and what you took, what particular baggage, what particular skills you may have taken to different relationships, or also what type of person you've been attracting. So that's been interesting. That's something I'm working on, which has also inspired a song, my next song that I want to write, because I realize, the few men that I have been blessed to just have an experience with, I was just thinking, like, I'm so grateful. And yes, sometimes things got rocky, but they've always been just such brilliant, creative men who love life and love me, and just help me grow in that season. So I'm thankful, for all those relationships. And they help me really get clear more on what I want, what I don't want. And I feel like more prepared for that next chapter that I step into.
So I am all about plants being our greatest healers, and so many people are dealing with chronic stress, pain, different issues. And did you know that CBD can actually really help? So I'm obsessed with Cornbread's first ever USDA organic CBD gummy in the USA. They're the highest quality full spectrum gummies on the market, made from flower only, third-party lab tested, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, with no artificial flavors or preservatives. They're entirely non-psychoactive, so you can take them on a work day. So you can actually take their quick 2-minute quiz to get custom recommendations tailored to your needs, whether it's aches, pains, sleep support, or stress relief. And also get a special 30% off your first order specifically for High Self Podcast listeners. So just head over to cornbreadhemp.com/Sahara and use code Sahara at your checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/Sahara for 30% off your first order. And you can find that link in the show notes. So trust your intuition, trust your It's so funny you said that because 2 weeks ago, before going to sleep, like my mind just took me to think about all your experiences with men since like you first had a first crush.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I just went through like from like my first crush in sixth grade to like every grade until then and college and in my 20s. And it was so interesting to witness like the patterns of like for me, it was a lot of like the person I liked didn't like me back. So it was like this unrequited love. And then the people I ended up in relationships with kind of just chose me. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, what is that there? Like, can it be two people fully choosing each other at the same amount, you know? And it's interesting because our society almost like tells us like, oh, if a man really cares, he'll like chase you and chase you. But then I see a lot of women just like maybe settle with that rather than also being in the choosers. And what do you think of like twin flames and sacred union and soulmates? Like, what's your take on that all?
I don't know if I have a take. If you think that's your soulmate, bet. If that's your twin flame, and you know it in your spirit, bet. If I believe that there might be spiritual agreements before coming to earth with a particular soul, because some people you just meet, oh my God, and the energy before you even speak is just so miraculous and just so motivational and inspiring in that moment. And you're like, yo, my soul is resonating deeply with yours. And then you might go on and have a magnificently just magical, relationship together, And of course, you might go through some of your deepest of depths, your lowest of lows with that person too, because perhaps you had an arrangement. Perhaps you had a spiritual agreement. And so, yeah, I believe that all of that ethereal, mystical, universal, especially the universal laws, I believe in that. I believe people do meet. If they say that's their soulmate, or they feel they have that yearning. I do feel like two people can be craving each other's energy, magnifying each other's energy, calling each other's energy closer. Yeah, absolutely. Some people you got like oh, that's cute. But some people you got like, oh, okay, let's do this. I'm a better person. I'm more funny. My heart is lighter. I step lighter with more ease. I feel very safe. I feel very secure in your presence. And it's not just a physical thing, I believe in that, yes.
Yeah, I feel sometimes it's complete like past life connections, and I feel the people we often experience the most love with, we also experience the most heartbreak with, and certain souls just chose prior to incarnation, like, we're going to go on a journey.
Right.
And we're going to open each other's hearts and see so much together. And then there's going to be an ending, and it's going to be the exact ending you need to become who you're meant to be next.
Right. I love that. Yeah, you got a real cool perspective.
Yeah.
I feel like it works. It works for you. And because it works for you, it works for so many other people that, are inspired by your work. One thing about you get people to think and feel for themselves. It's just like this is what I'm on. This is how it enhanced my life in these ways. And I just wanted to share it with y'all in a creative way. Take what you want with it. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see.
Yeah.
And I know you have been through some very questionable times, and like times that made you really see who you are and how powerful you are and your resilience. And at the same time, those are all the moments that make you so radiant, that make you who you are now and have given you even more energy to lead, So I'm glad. I appreciate you showing up and not giving up. No matter how many hours or days you cried, I know it couldn't have been easy. But whatever you did to lean into the support of your community, whatever you did to really nourish yourself and keep yourself like in a sustainable space, yeah, shout out to you, for making it happen. Because now, life is a game of cycles. We're up, but if you up, down is right around the corner. And when you low, You're like, okay, this don't feel that good. It's kind of murky. I'm kind of sad. I'm heartbroken. I'm depressed. I'm trying to move through this, trying to figure this shit out. But I know up is somewhere in the horizon. I know the light is here, you know? So look how things manifested for you.
Totally.
Yeah.
Beyond. And it's a cycle in seasons. And I feel like we always have like one area of our life that we're like so hyper fixated on, whether it's like my money or
Right.
my relationships or my friendships or my home and my this, and it's like the biggest problem. And we put all of our focus, and it's like, okay, then you get that thing, and it's like in something else, and just to accept the spiral of life, of there's always going to be deepening, and there's always going to be, you know, newer awarenesses that we get forever. And I feel like kind of the like new age spirituality makes you feel like you manifest and then you have no more problems. And like,
Right.
that's not what it is. That's
Right.
not the feminine.
It's a spiral, like you said.
Exactly. It's a deepening and deepening. And that's the womb. You know, the womb is to go into the darkness.
I love that you bring it back to the womb.
Mm-hmm.
It always comes back to the womb.
Back to the womb.
It's like if you don't remember anything else, remember that it always comes back to the womb. And that's why there's so much power in celebrating and honoring the womb. There's so much power in honoring women. You know, the womb, the portal, bring peace back to the womb. Bring that creativity, that energy, the wisdom of our grandmothers, of our great-grandmothers, of our great-great-great-grandmothers, you know, of the ancestors, bringing back that wisdom and peace. We need that. There's so much talk about the womb. There's so many old white men talking about the womb. I'm like, y'all need to shut up and listen to the womb. And if you won't, then we got something to say. You know, it's so many doulas and midwives and birth workers and all kind of women. There's women whose full-time job is to show up at the birthplace and speak life into the mother and just speak affirmations. You know, it's like there's so many of us on different levels of the spectrum doing this work, and it's important for us to bring it, always come back to the womb. So I appreciate you.
I'm curious, what practices do you do to connect with your womb?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Thank you for asking. I'm always on a mission, but maybe if I were to name 5 of my favorite or in this season, because sometimes it changes seasonally based on where I'm at, what I'm moving through. But I love drinking herbal tea. I love drinking womb tea.
What's in womb tea?
Well, it just depends on what blend you make. But one of my blends right now, I love the Damiana infused with the rose petals for that extra touch of feminine energy. And I have the blue butterfly pea and the red, the hibiscus. There's so many different herbs that stimulate your womb in different ways. The dandelion, powerful. I love a good dandelion tea with a little bit of manuka honey. But drinking tea, because tea is such a ritual. And as you're brewing your herbs, you're filling them with those intentions and those specific herbs. I might be working on my memory. I might be working on my energy. Different things. But for the womb, I like to take the warm cup, and just sit it on my womb. And that's how I bless my tea, and I bless my womb with that intention. Because, we're all on a healing journey. I love, like I mentioned earlier, doing the inversion. So non-negotiable, as soon as I open up my eyes and give thanks to the Lord for another glorious opportunity to exist, feet up on the wall. I lay flat on my back, I turn around, I put my feet up so that, I'm upside down. So I sit like that with my feet up, and then I'll lift up all the way with my womb, just to recirculate, just to get the energy flowing. Because the thing is, we eat. Our stomach is always working. It's always digesting. Our colon, it sits right on top of our womb. And it's like, I feel like so many of our issues come from having a heavy colon. And so when you can do that upside down energy, and that's one thing I thank Queen Afua for, because she always reminding us, inversion, And some days, which more so lately, because I've been really on my stuff, I'll go upside down with a full, what do you call it? Handstand. So I'm working on that, strengthening, because then you get the full like detox. You feel me? So sipping on tea, doing my inversion, going to the steam room, Himalayan sea salt room. Of course, womb prayers, speaking to my womb, talking to my womb. And one of my favorite things that every time I do it, I'm like, oh my God, thank you, God, for this opportunity to be able to take a bath, a sacred bath with the rose petals and the flowers, with the big bulks of ginger, organic ginger, and you use it to stimulate the veins, the blood, and then you
ginger.
Like when you go to the market, you get the fresh chunk of ginger. Just get some ginger for your tea and your smoothies and stuff, but get extra for the bath. And you take that big chunk and you just stimulate your body, but then you get to your womb and you just love on her. The world is always telling us what to do with our wombs, and it's like as soon as we have a little issue, the medical system is trying to remove the wounds. It's like that's the first thing. But they're not trying to remove, anything from the opposite sex. They just, what I mean, that's another conversation. But what I mean is there's already so much against the womb right now. And it has been. So it's like every chance we get to just love on it in all the ways. And of course, lastly, being at the beach by the water. Sometimes, when you open that coochie to the sunlight and get that sun medicine, it's like the sun is flowing. The energy of the sun is like flowing between those portals, between the lips, directly into the womb for healing. And you can do that from your backyard, if you have a private space, or even in your bed, if the sun is hit it. But it's like at the ocean and you have the legs open to the sun, receiving that energy. I also find healing with the legs open to the ocean and the waves coming towards you and that energy flowing and just cleansing, washing the womb. There's so many ways.
Rivers too.
Mm-hmm. Ponds, lakes, and I'm a fire sign, so I like being by the water anyways, but
you're Leo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
of
for
course.
Sure. For sure. What about you?
Capricorn.
Okay. Oh, yeah, of course. I called it the first time we were texting. I'm like, you must have some Capricorn energy. And you were like, triple something.
Yeah.
I love that. So I'm going to leave it there. I did.
Do you do yoni steaming?
Oh, I love yoni steaming. It's so many. It's because it's like my lifestyle now. But I like to go to the Womb Castle.
What's that?
It's a Black-owned spot in the Bay Area, Oakland. Yoni Adore, aka
so
Nelly.
Much good yoni stuff in Oakland.
There's so many. There's Feminine Mystique. She does the steams as well. But also there's Lizzy Jeff at her house in her kitchen. That's my favorite because it's like.
Yeah. Would you do a pot? What's your?
Yeah, I set the mood. I'm all about the mood. So I set the mood when I'm about to bathe, when I'm free bleeding, and when I'm doing my yoni steams.
Where do you free bleed?
It depends on my mood. At home, or sometimes when I go camping and it's just us and the earth, that's the most natural way to free bleed. But mostly at home, like I have a special towel, and some nights when I just want to just be free, what I'll do is I'll set the mood. I'll light a couple beeswax candles. I'll put some good music on. I have different playlists, but the first song I like to start is Teddy Pendergrass, my latest, greatest inspiration. That set the mood for me every time. I got my tea brewing. Everything is set because I'm not trying to get up. I'm not trying to be on my phone. I might have a couple books, and I set my special towel. Stay tuned for the Lizzy Jeff Free Bleeding Towel Collection dropping this summer for my birthday. But put my books, put my flowers. I love flowers. I love flowers and plants. So I just set a mood, whatever you move. There's crystals for some girls. It's the humidifier with the peppermint. It's the frankincense and myrrh, charcoal, whatever you want. But I like to set a vibe because it's sacred, it's spiritual, you know? And so I brew my herbs on low heat. And then I have a special yoni pot that I like. It's not like the whole throne. You know, I'm going to get there eventually. I know some ladies that create the yoni steam throne. But right now I just be out here. You feel me? I'm just out here. Let's make it work. What we got. And I have this special pot and I, you know, sit it down in my little area. I might wear my robe backwards or I might just have the towel over my lap. Some days when I steam, it's all thigh action. It's all holding your weight. I know that's not, you know, easy for everybody. And it's not like I'm 30 minutes holding my weight, but I like
so you
to
just squat over it.
I like to squat over it, but I've gotten creative. It's just about finding your style, get creative, you know? But for the most part, I position myself over the steam and I just rock for like 30 minutes is usually the goal. Sometimes after 15 minutes, my coochie is like, okay, we good. But I like 30 minutes at home or if I'm traveling and I just maybe finish my cycle and I want a quick steam while I'm on the road at my Airbnb, then I've used like a smaller Pyrex glass, smaller one that's easy to travel with. But, you know, it's all about finding your own style. There's a spa that I like. I'm not going to tell y'all today, unfortunately. My close friends know, but there's a spa like that does the steams. And the woman that does them, she's this beautiful elder Japanese woman who she gives you the vibe. You feel me?
Who you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's like it's an experience every time. So I just like to go there, kick back, mind my business.
In the jade room.
And journal.
Yeah.
And then, because that's when a lot of ideas are coming through in the journal, when I journal, when I steam, when I bathe, shower, beach, water. So yeah, I do like the yoni steams.
It's so powerful. And what I love is like you make it happen even when you're traveling with like a little Pyrex bowl. And I feel like we make it so complicated. I have to go somewhere and pay all this money. And if not, and it's like so much more effective to just do something like however you can, but more often than like once a year.
Right. You know? Yeah. I like to do once a month.
Yeah.
I mean, but sometimes I might be every 2 or 3 months, but it is, you got to do it. It becomes habit. But some months you might be like, I'm good this month. You know, because there's so many ways to cleanse and have a relationship, an intimate relationship with your coochie, with your womb, with your body. And so it's like, you don't always got to do it all the time, but consistency, you know, you do feel a difference and notice a difference when you just stay consistent in your rituals.
And the level of just like self-love and appreciation that you get from it is like unparalleled of like, if I treat my womb like this, like I'm definitely not going to let someone in that doesn't.
You said it.
Yeah.
Right. You're not going to let no bullshit nowhere near your coochie.
Exactly.
If you spending that much time, it's the same with energy. Like I spend a lot of time just cultivating my energy just because, you know, when I'm in the streets, I do have to show up for a lot of people, which I love. I'm in service. That's what I signed up for. But also, in order for me to show up in the way that I need to cultivate my energy for myself and create those spaces for myself. So I'm going to be very particular about who I share my energy with and what spaces I go into. And it's the same thing with your coochie, you know, with your yoni or pussy, whatever her name is, give her a name, you know, but just be mindful. Just take care of it like you would a nice bag or a nice piece of jewelry or a man. You feel me? And these are the requirements. This is, you know, yeah.
Exactly. And just having that, most of us have zero relationship with her. And we're going to have a whole conversation just about like self-pleasure and even that. But so many of us have so much shame, even disgust of touching our yonis. Should we just a little tap into this?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
You know, for me, I realized, especially after my divorce, that for me, like pleasure was always like through like sex with the man, you know? And it was almost like weird, like when you're in a relationship of back then with my consciousness then of like, oh, why would you self-pleasure without me? Like you don't want me, you know? And I feel like sometimes in relationships, women and men both don't have their own self-pleasure practice. And I would say for a lot of men, it's not even self-pleasure practices. It's like disassociated pornography use. And for women, it's a lot of like shame-based vibrator on the highest level, get it over with, and the next thing. And, so I started to really go into yoni mapping and really first just like feeling what actually turns me on myself and realizing how slow and light of a touch I really loved, and touching my outer thighs and touching my outer labia and actually feeling what like engorgement felt like in my body, like full engorgement. And most of us, our pussies have never gotten there. Most of us have never spent 20, 40 minutes on just the outside, and like getting to that place where she's like open and soft and dripping and in my breasts, and feeling how like orgasmic even just around my breasts are, that like the moment I would like touch my nipple, it was like an orgasm from building that energy there. I didn't even need to go further. And like oftentimes that is just my pleasure practice of just like the self-arousal. And then eventually moving into the yoni mapping of feeling different spots inside my yoni where there was numbness, or, I would feel something, but then like after orgasm, I would cry, or feelings of just like anger or disgust or whatever was under there. And after, I would be so grateful that had I not done this practice today, that energy would have been living in me, and I would have been manifesting from that energy, and I would have been finding relationships from that energy. So thank Goddess that me and myself in my own practice transmuted that through pleasure.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm curious what your journey has been.
You said it. And I'm curious, have you ever connected with Ashley Manta, the canosexual?
No.
Yo, you got to bring her on this. Okay. Y'all gonna have the juiciest, most tantalizing drip conversation ever. You and Ashley Manta, I'm telling you. But as far as what you asked me, man, it goes back to everything we've been talking about how is everything so suppressed. And then we think it's wrong to touch ourselves and do what we need to do. And it's like, girl, just love yourself. Just touch yourself. Sometimes it's the religion, it's our relationships, it's our parents, it's society. It'd be so many things that keep us just from touching our own coochies, our own bodies, our own temples. And so I love that you speak about it so freely and vividly, especially because I'm all about intimacy. I'm all about intimacy, yes, with your man or your girl. Intimacy with your food, that's something that's big for me. And intimacy with yourself, which is the most important, because it's like taking that time, getting to know yourself. Of course, we're all on a journey and we're growing every day, but yes, the yoni mapping, like exploring, figuring it out, because what happens is too, when we are with partners, they might ask us what we like and we might not know what to say or how to express ourselves. I've definitely been there, and it's like, taking that time to get to know yourself and touch yourself. I love what you said about the breasts. I love doing breast work, breast magic. That's a powerful tool for women to use. But even like so many women have had orgasms just from breast play, just touch, not even sometimes just a feather across the clitoris, or something like that. But I love that you speak on the outside, taking that time. And it doesn't always have to be sexual. And that's the intimacy part of intimacy, spending that time with yourself before any penetration happens or any orgasm happens. It's like how I set the mood for everything else I described. I set the mood for myself when it's playtime, when it's solo time, when it's a self-love night, when it's date night, because I need to feel comfortable first. I need to feel, even if it's just with myself, I just need to feel really relaxed and just open, lighthearted, clear mind. And so in order for me to get there, I got to really take my time with myself. Breath work saves my life every day. Just breathing on purpose, that saves my life every day. And it helps me connect more deeply with my body. Cannabis medicine, aphrodisiac, being intentional with having aphrodisiac tea, that Damiana I mentioned earlier, that's beautiful womb, creativity, mind, mood enhancer too. Very sensuous. I love Blue Lotus. So setting the mood and then allowing yourself to, because we be in a rush to get a quick orgasm. And it's like, And women gain more energy and power and medicine and healing and clarity having multiple orgasms as opposed to men, because that's their life force energy. So that's why some of our most powerful men, you will learn that they practice semen retention because they understand the power of conserving their energy. And especially when you think about that and the orgasm gap, I read some statistics recently and I was like, dang, that's a huge gap from the percentage of women having orgasms during sex and men, which we have this conversation. We've heard this 1,000 times, but learning our body, because in order for us to know how to protect what we're protecting and how to express ourselves and our desires, we got to learn. And it's not an overnight thing. You know, some of us have experienced certain things in our lives, and we might have created blockages. But the last part I'll speak on that you spoke on was about the trauma. And not all orgasms are mystical and enchanted and sexy and fun and delightful and magical. Some orgasms are deep and tears, and you might have some obsidian crystal next to you, and you know, you might just be on a journey moving through some trauma, because trauma does live in our body. So that energy of us having orgasms, exploring that, helps us release the trauma so that you can then manifest your best life. So many of us are like, dang, I got this, I got that, I got this. What's the problem? I eat like this, I do this, I work. But where's but it might be the blockages that exist in our physical body that we just need to take more time to kind of work through. And so for the women, date night, pick a day. I said that earlier. Pick a day where you're just loving on yourself, whether it's with your hands, which is the most natural, whether it's with crystal, ethically sourced crystal, or whether it's with a sustainable vibrator. You know, you can, or a feather or silk or whatever it is, but just love on yourself and have fun doing it and healing. And then that next orgasm, envision what you want. See it, sex magic, baby. Write it down first. See it in your mind at the same moment of orgasm. And that bliss, that energy, that's what's gonna bring into fruition your deepest desires and dreams. Yeah, you got power. It's that one little button, that's really a big button.
Mm-hmm.
That one portal, precious, delicate, soft portal, sweet, luscious portal, is really a powerful, you feel me, doorway to greatness. I think to world peace.
I can only imagine how different the world would live if the leaders of it were connected to the womb. We're mothers. We're womb carriers. We would just treat each other in the world and our children so differently. And it starts with us. It starts with us honoring the womb, teaching our sons to honor the womb, teaching our daughters to honor the womb. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love that you said in our song of healing is necessary to move through this world. This is a message for all you little girls. Do not let the patriarchy fuck up your vibe. Hey. It's time for the matriarchy to get up and rise. Awaken your feminine queen. Open your eyes. Okay. I know your whole rap because I've heard the song.
I love that.
It's
Thank
so
you.
good, but I'm not lying just itself. Do not let the patriarchy fuck up your vibe. Iconic. We need shirts.
Healing is necessary to move through this world. This is a message for all the little girls. Do not let the patriarchy fuck up your vibe. It's time for the matriarchy to get up and rise. Awaken your feminine queen, open your eyes. This is your time, remove the disguise. You are an immaculate creation of God. Perfect exactly the way that you are. Remember that you are the sun, the moon, and the stars. Remember that your scars is what got you this far. So do it all night, queen, do it all night. Do it all night, queen, do it all night. Do it all night, queen, do it all night. Do it all night.
The feminine is rising, the body is the path. The feminine is rising, so I'ma throw it back.
And I love that you said that. Yeah. That's my other homegirl said that. And some of my homegirls, they're like, yeah, that's the part. Yeah. And I'm like, I almost was like, because I said to all the little girls, and then the next thing I'm like, don't let the patriarchy fuck up your vibe. And I'm like, I'm cursing. But all my girls are like, no, 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 no. You making a statement and the little girls need to hear it and they gonna understand it. And I'm like, okay, bet. I'm standing on it.
Because that's when it starts, when we're little girls.
Yeah. And sometimes you need it. It's so much shit that's trying to get the minds of our baby girls. Sometimes you just got to cut through clear and be like, boom. Whatever that means for you, baby girl. Because it's a lot of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 plus aged girls who are aware, who are brilliant, who know themselves, who want to know themselves more, who think all this shit is some bullshit. You know what I mean? Excuse my language. Blessings. But there's some little girls out there who see the truth. And they might be looking past, and they might lead themselves to you, to me, to the Trap Witch, to the Dreaming Gem, to Queen of Green, to, Hadia, to Mother Divinity, to Goddess Deja, to all of these amazing women who are doing prolific work in the matters of women activating themselves in a powerful way. I love it. I'm here for it. I just want to continue to see us win and continue to see us do the work. And I love, we've been talking about the women in the womb. I just want the men to know. I'm talking to the men, to the kings, the brothers. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I see you. Thank you for doing this work, because just as much as we're doing the work, I want to acknowledge that there are men that are doing their work. And I see you and I acknowledge you and I appreciate you. And that's important for you to know because we need each other and we're in this together. So let's just, if we're not understanding each other, let's talk, let's figure it out, let's listen to each other with the intention to resolve whatever conflict we may be experiencing. And there's enough love, there's enough examples that exist of relationships that exist in love and respect and honor and communication for us to be inspired by. Don't get too caught up in what the movies and the magazines and the billboards and the radio stations and the IG pages are telling us. There's real examples. There's real leaders. There's real women, real men, real everybody doing real work in a beautiful way to help create some sense of peace and natural living, natural connection to the earth. And, I talk about our connection with ourselves is vital. And I truly believe that our connection with the earth is equally vital. Our ability to put our feet in the ground, our ability to stand under a tree and breathe, our ability to see beauty in the earth, our ability to protect the earth, to cherish the earth, is just as vital. And all of this is coming together. We exist, we here. And thank you, for creating a platform for so many dope people to share and uplift their work. It's really dope. And I'm excited to see the music video for our song that we shot.
And it will be available now when people are listening to this conversation.
Ooh.
So I will link it below. It is like a musical. Seriously.
Okay, it feels
full
like a musical.
Storyline, everything. Because you haven't seen the edit.
Right.
We're still working on it, but it's available now. So if you guys love Lizzy and our energy, and she's just such a vibe, I have her social media and everything below. But I could listen to you talk all day. It was just I just felt like I was in church. I was like, yes.
Oh, thank you.
But like a sexy church, know?
And that's what church should be.
Yeah.
Sexy. And that's why I love Zen and Kush. That's oftentimes why I host my events on a Sunday, because it is a place of worship. Come worship the goddess.
Yes.
All right, go worship him all day. Cool. Bet. I grew up in the church. I was listening to gospel music on the way here. And then Nipsey came on, Right Hand of God. I'm like, that's gospel as well. And, it's important for us to create those spaces where we can worship the goddess, worship that energy and take care of ourselves and be mindful of what we eat. I would love to put a challenge to the community, for the summer. Let's commit to doing better, treating our bodies better, treating each other better, eating cleaner, you feel me? Incorporating at least one day a week where you only eat raw food, you know, a raw meal that you prepared yourself, even if it's a smoothie with the mangoes and the whatever fruits are in season, you feel me, with a little pomegranate seeds, some dates, even if it's a salad, you know, I'm all about a good romaine, arugula salad with my homemade avocado dressing.
I think we need a cookbook.
Yeah, you know what? I'm working on something.
Yeah.
I'm working on something. It's almost complete. That's all I can say about that, because that's funny you said that, because that's something that I'm looking forward to sharing with the people. But for right now, you can connect with me through my music. I'm on all streaming platforms, including Even and Bandcamp. You can visit me at LizzyJeff.com. You can message me on IG or send me an email, zenandkush@gmail.com, and let me know that you met me here on this podcast. If this is your first time hearing about me, message me. Let me know. Is there anything that you feel inspired? Did you learn anything? I hope you did. And at the very least, the most important thing I would love us to take away, you know, is in order for us to show up for our community, in order for us to show up for our people, for the children, for whoever we want to show up for, we got to remember to show up for ourselves first. And that's not about saying F people. That's about taking care of ourselves and nourishing ourselves, because a lot of us are moving through some deep times, but we make it look good. And sometimes you just got to honor and respect where you are on the journey. But while we're moving through our grief, while we're moving through our sadness, our disbelief, whatever it is we're moving through, just remember to take care of yourself. You know, remember to stay hydrated. Remember, you know, just to get that cardio, you know, stretch, take a bath, you know, breathe. Remember to breathe through it all. Yeah, like even right now, we can just take a deep breath here together on a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold. Release. Life is unpredictable. We don't really know. So let's make the most out of it. But while we're making the most out of it, let's be very intentional in how we show up for each other and respect each other and how we treat our bodies and the people we love. And that's what I love about you. I saw too, I'm getting to know you more too every time I see you and spend time with you. But I love how you take care of the women. You remind me of me in a lot of ways sometimes, which I think is really cool. But you love taking care of your women, you know, and you make women feel so good, so beautiful. So I can do that. I can wear that. I can put that on. But I know that only comes because you do it with yourself, you know? There's no way you can show up this luminous in your purpose, this brilliant in your mind, this confident in your expression without putting that work in. And so it's good to be here. It's good to be your reflection. I really appreciate you having me. And shout out to your team, too.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
Well, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your wisdom. I could listen to you speak forever. And she has amazing events called Zen and Kush, which we'll also link below, where you can like experience like because I came years ago and it was like, we were like massaging each other with like roses and it was like super,
it's
it was like a violin.
Vibe.
Yeah, it was very beautiful and beautiful dancers. So it was gorgeous. And we'll link that with her incredible music below. Our new music video for The Feminine is Rising. You can check that out as well. And please share this episode with your friends, with your sisters, if you want to have deeper friendships, conversations like this. Like, you know, go deeper. I feel like a lot of times women were like just talking about what happened in our lives rather than these deeper conversations around our wombs and our self-pleasure and our healing. And yeah, I feel like a lot of times as women we're like, hey, let's like grab a cup of coffee and complain. And I don't think any of us walk away from that feeling any better or recharged. So be like, hey, let's all listen to this conversation. And what did you take from it? What did I take from it? Let's gather in the park and have a picnic and talk about what came up for us.
I love that. We should do that. We should do a park
do a
picnic or something and play the song and then have a conversation.
I love that.
with
Okay.
some healthy snacks. We can talk about it.
We'll do that.
Yeah, but that's a great
We'll post
idea.
that below too when we figure that out. It would be so much fun. It'll be Leo season. What day is your birthday?
It's coming up. It's July 28th.
Okay. So the song's coming out early August. Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll
figure
link it all
figure
together.
We'll
You'll see. Watch this space.
August. I'm going
yeah.
on a birthday tour starting 8/8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Lionsgate.
in Atlanta with Londrell.
Oh,
Both our albums drop on August 8th. So that's the first kickoff of the tour. So perhaps we can make it part of the tour.
I love it. We'll go to the show. That would be so
Talk about
much fun. So share this episode with your friends. Let us know what you think. Please leave a review for it in the podcast app. Tell me what you loved, any other topics you'd love for me to dive into, and take a screenshot of your review and I will send you my womb meditation, which is a great way to connect deeper into your womb space. So all you got to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and email it over to me at sahara@IamSaharaRose.com. You can find that email and all of the links mentioned in the show notes. Thank you so much and have a beautiful day.
Trust your intuition, trust your inner wisdom, trust your inner guidance. Close your eyes and listen. Swing and let go. So trust your intuition, trust your inner wisdom, trust